Jameson to talk to you about the options we have on the rogue experiment 20201358, or better known as Addison Grace. At this point, we can either wipe her slate clean and start from the beginning, or execute her.
I know that the Queen is trying to manipulate my thoughts and actions. I must tread this path lightly. If I may, my Queen, why have you called me here? I have no say in whether she live or die.
I want to know if she's still able to perform the functions she was originally created for. That being an obedient weapon ready for war. I've seen the way you look at her, Jameson, and I don't like it.
Queen Marilyn's slender figure towered over me. She extended her hand and caressed my face. I cringed at the touch. Her cold, dead hand could not offer me any comfort to me. Her hand slowly returned to her side. Addison Grace is currently rogue, but with time spent with fellow soldiers, her programming should kick in naturally. A look of disgust fell on her face.
I don't understand why you want me to believe in her. She's a mistake, one that needs to be erased. You're showing submission, which is causing you to stray from your mission.
Just because I don't want to kill her does not make me feeble-minded. Her eyes bore holes into my head. Anger fumed from her stare. Her lips are drawn into a thin line. My blood runs cold, sending a shiver through my system. I stepped out of line. Her lips curve upward into a gruesome grin.
I'll give you a chance to set the situation straight. But if you're her so much as step a toe out of line, I'll have both of your heads on a platter. You're excused.
The damp, dark prison cell was small and smelled like 1,000 rotting corpses. It's just another downside to failing the expectations of the Queen. But unfortunately for her, I want to be here. My goal is to gather as much intel on the Queen and her castle as possible and use it against her. I'm most curious about the captain of the guard, Jameson. He is important to the Queen, which means that he can be valuable to me. But there is more to him. He is a curious creature, not quite as brainwashed as the rest of the soldiers. Not only does he have morals, but his morals are his weakness. He has spared me in battle when others would have killed me. Maybe, just maybe, I could manipulate this soldier and turn him against the Queen. Footsteps echo down the narrow halls, heading in my direction. They are followed by the jingling of keys. And with the footsteps comes my opportunity to overcome the Queen. I lean against the grimy wall. What do you want, soldier boy? I see the silhouette of his body through the bars. He clears his throat and stands there, waiting. My attention is drawn to the wheelchair he brought with him. I notice the restraints dangling from the contraption, and a shiver goes down my spine. The wheelchair brings back nightmares of the many doctor visits, needles, cold tables, and the constant pain of being poked and prodded during procedures. Fear washes over my senses, and I'm sent into fight or flight mode. I press my back against the wall and take a deep breath.
Relax. I thought it would be appropriate to give you a tour, seeing as this is your new home.
He takes a key from his pocket and slips it into the lock. He opens the door and gestures for me to sit. I take my time walking towards the wheelchair. My gaze lingers on Jameson's face, searching for his motive.
Sorry about the restraints. It's protocol.
Don't worry about it. I love it when I'm being manhandled by a goon. I attempt to memorize the layout, but the corridors are full of twists and turns, and they all look the same. Come to an opening to the palace garden and come to a halt. well-manicured shrubbery looks as if it stretches for miles. I've never seen so many shades of green in all my life. Butterflies are flying above, they're skimming my head. This private reserve stands out against all the darkness.
This is where I come to get away from it all.
I can hear the serenity in his voice. All of what? The life of a soldier and the Queen's minions sounds like a fine life to me. I mean, riches, food, the Queen's trust, shelter. What's not to love?
Yeah. Watching and being part of countless executions of innocent people, raiding villages and leaving no man alive. Seeing so much red that when you close your eyes, you see bodies piled up. That's an amazing life. But this place, it reminds me that there's hope. There's hope for a better kingdom that doesn't have death at every corner. Hope that people can be themselves and be accepted. Hope for freedom. Do you think that could happen?
I stare back blankly, shocked that he had opened up to me. He was being more vulnerable than I thought he would be. I take too long to respond, so he does for me.
That's what I thought. Oh, the flowers, they're beautiful this time of year. They're in full bloom.
Enough of the small talk. Why did you really bring me here?
What? A guy can't take a girl out to stop and smell the roses? You should smile more. It's becoming of you.
We need her back in her cell. A prisoner has escaped their execution.
Seems like it was easier than it should be to escape execution.
We'll have to end the tour for now.
I sit on my bed with my head back against the wall. The garden had been so beautiful, causing the cell to look darker and lonelier. The soldier would be easier to manipulate than I thought. I somehow gained enough trust for him to share his true feelings, not just the brainwashing garbage that they teach everyone else in this kingdom. My thoughts were interrupted by a blood-curdling scream. Ah! I shot out of bed. I look out through the bars. Down the hall, there is a girl lying on the ground. Her leg is tilted at an awkward angle, and tears stream down her determined face. As she attempts to crawl away, she screams at her attacker in anger.
You're more monster than man!
The beast of a man towers over the girl and smiles. He is dressed in a long black cloak, and all of his exposed skin is covered in black symbols. The executioner. That means that this helpless girl is the one who escaped her death. He pulls his cloak aside to reveal his weapon of choice, a scythe. The executioner swings the blade around as if it were a toy. I try to pry my eyes away to keep myself from saying something I will regret. Unfortunately, I have trouble with keeping my mouth shut. Hasn't your mother ever told you not to play with your food? The burly man's gaze travels upwards until his eyes lock on mine. His eyes look like huge black pits. A disturbing grin spreads across his face, causing me to regret my decision. He picks up the girl by the front of her shirt so the tips of her toes graze the floor. As he trudges towards my cell, the girl attempts to squeak out a warning. I stand my ground in front of the bars, even though my brain is screaming to back away.
You wanna play, little birdie?
His hand shoots through the cage, reaching for my throat. I grab his fist and slam it into the bar with a satisfying crunch. The man howls and loses his grip on the girl. I pull the rest of his arm into the cell with as much force as possible. The momentum bangs his head into the bar until blood splurts everywhere. The monster of a man then falls to the ground with a thud, leaving a ringing in my ears. I notice the girl struggling to get to her feet. Once she gets a hold of herself, she smiles widely at me, nods, and begins limping away. She may not survive much longer, but at least I gave her hope. Sometimes hope is all you need to keep going.